I would like to point out, just to be very clear, because I think I had some comments, people saying, "Oh, you don't understand what Danny Wang's talking about. He's a respected DJ. He knows what he's doing. Peggy Gou, I'm no fan of Peggy Gou, right? I don't really listen to her stuff. I like Starry Night. I played that out a few times when that came out. It's a banger. It goes off on the dance floor. Any DJ that tells you anything different is lying. I liked her at night remix that she put together. Even if she didn't do it, I don't care. It's got her name on it. It was cool. I like that track. I'm a big fan of Daniel Wang too, like I mentioned previously. His article that he put together for Cocktail D'Amour back in the days on electronic beats website in like 2014-15 was the reason why I went to Cocktail D'Amour in the first place, right? He obviously that big tune, that big disco track that he put out in 2007 or whatever that I mentioned it. Like Some Dream, whatever it's called, yeah, Like Some Dream or whatever that track is called. I played it out a few times. He's got a couple of other remixes that I'm a big fan of, and generally he seems like a good egg. Right, I've got no horse in this race. I don't really care about either of them personally, but my point of view, my position on this matter is that I'm not a fan of any man going online and publicly slating another woman in any fashion whatsoever. I think it's unbecoming of a man to do so. I think women can do it to themselves because, you know, that's what women do, I guess, go back and forth and bicker online and gossip and all that malarkey. I think that's all well and good, all well and fair. I think men to a certain extent can do it, but also I think men have a short fuse or a short window of back and forth arguments before it turns physical, so that kind of is out the window. But I think in no way, shape or form should any man, regardless of what happens, should go online and publicly attack somebody, especially somebody that happens to be in the same profession as them, in order to kind of get their message across. It just doesn't work for me. And then again, going to develop the argument a bit further, I think if you're a DJ and you're a professional DJ at the highest level and you have a bit of a public profile, you owe it to yourself and your peers and the industry at large not to attack somebody that you work with online on a public forum in any way, shape or form. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't serve the scene, doesn't serve the community, doesn't serve you, and anything, it kind of splits and splinters the fan base that's already looking to rally behind people and be sort of a tribal just because of the very nature of the music itself and just how humans are, right? People are already split in general, right? Which is annoying. They're split in camps in terms of genres, in terms of clubs, in terms of sexual orientation, whatever it may be, right? It's always really annoying that way that we have. I guess it's somewhat annoying that you have a specific club for a specific type of people, but I also understand you want to go to these places to feel comfortable. But then I think that separation can cause further division in the scene where everyone's sort of like in their own little circle and doing their own little thing. I think we have so many great DJs out there at the moment, so many great parties, so many great places to go to, that you can sort of live and coexist amongst other people without it turning into a beef, without it turning into a back and forth. That doesn't need to happen. And that's, I guess, is being exasperated by this constant back and forth that these guys are having. And it looks like it's not going to slow down anytime soon because Daniel Wang replied. So, of course, as most of you people are aware, I obviously posted a video about this stuff where I sort of spoke about it. And Daniel Wang replied in the comments, which I pinned here on the top. This is the top video. I'm sure most of you guys have seen. Let's go back to the video. But it's there. And he basically updated it regarding the issue and sort of kind of laid out what his kind of feelings were post his initial text that he put out on Facebook. So it says the following. Hi everyone, Daniel Wang himself. And again, this is what he said supposedly. I don't know, it could be anybody. This could be some stranger that decided to type the same way he types, but it looks like it probably is him. So it says, hi everyone, Daniel Wang himself here. I feel silly trying to explain or even participating. Thanks for the host for acknowledging some good things I've done. The tune you name, I'm not proud of it, but I was a naive kid, was 27 years ago. I've done my best to document my heroes and teachers, Francois K, Frankie Knuckles, T Scott, etc. for almost 30 years now, because I believe deeply in all the positive aspects of dance music culture. I hope you guys understand I was put into this horrible situation and not of my own choosing. I was ready, hoping to just forget it, but stories from all over Berlin and beyond kept coming in. I could see that this was much bigger than just about me or the feud with a neighbor, and everyone else was scared to speak. Okay, I take umbrage with this because it feels like, again, I don't remember I can't remember exactly, but if reading through it, but when I read through it the first time, I couldn't exactly pinpoint what what kind of prompted Daniel Wang to go out there and start blasting Peggy Gou in public? I don't actually know what happened. Like, what exactly was the thing that happened? He didn't actually detail it. He detailed all the kind of instances where she's been a bad neighbor and manipulative and a bit of a dick and all this stuff, and entitled and self-centered, blah 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 blah. But I didn't actually see what actually happened that made him decide to put that online at that time on that day. Regardless, I don't really see what the thing was. So that was where I've always had a bit of an umbrage with. And then of course, doing it in a fashion that he did, where he sort of like took a few sort of like personal attacks here and there, it just opened the floodgates up to absolute wankers to start, you know, commenting on there. People who I'm sure Daniel Wang wouldn't want to count as fans to go on there, use the opportunity to just kick, you know, Peggy Gou while she's down because they just don't like her or they just don't like girls, whatever the fact is, isn't it? So that's the issue there. So he has to take some responsibility there to open the floodgate to trolls. But hey, what can you do? Honestly, he says here, honestly, I have almost zero close friends who are those I be for jet set people. I fly EasyJet and Ryanair. If I must, I often took 60 to 150 euro flights for fun jobs at a bar or a side gig in Poland. I'm a normal guy who needs no luxuries. I never accepted it as a normal or okay to demand 10,000 or 20,000. But if some people can get that after much hard work and with good attitude, Godianto, for example, I know him well, I don't blame them at all. Peggy, as you can see in my text, is a monster. People from around the globe have been sending me their abuse stories of her, and they're horrendous. All true. Again, they're horrendous to a certain extent. She sounds like the kind of person you probably want to go on a holiday with. But is she fucking Suge Knight? Probably not. Let's relax. If I just shut up, I would go crazy. I hate the storms of social media, but if all her power and influence are derived from her lies and staged image on social media, then I could only present the truth and reverse the damage on social media as well. I'm not a hater or a fighter by nature. I hate conflicts and hurting people. Oh, you've done a good job here, my friend, but I had to step up because nobody else could or would. Thanks. Again, I take real umbrage. Again, this is my own point of view. I'm really skeptical of this idea that just because he's been in the game for 25 years and he's happy going on 50 quid EasyJet flights and he doesn't need much money, that this isn't an issue about jealousy. This is what it seems like to me. It sounds like to me that Daniel Wang is a very storied and popular and very well-respected DJ in the industry, but just like anybody else, just like any other human that's walking the face of the earth, especially somebody in a field like DJing where there's no clear path to success, no clear path to the top, where everyone has a very different and personal journey to get where they need to get to, might have suffered through a bit of jealousy along the way, especially if you're living in the same building. You're seeing her coming in a bloody Uber, decked out in amazing clothes with great looking friends, playing amazing music, getting mad random boxes sent to her apartment all the time. Then you're stalking on social and seeing that she just got sent an amazing Louis Vuitton trench coat and this stuff and that stuff, and you're well within your rights to sit there and think, why not me? Why not me? And I think that's perfectly okay. But to suggest that this isn't a jealousy thing and this is just you trying to be a good person and stand up for the scene and all this sort of thing is really, really, really not true, in my opinion. That's what I think. I just think it just stems mostly from a jealousy point of view. And it's somewhat understandable. It really is, right? It's somewhat understandable. Why do I say that it's somewhat understandable? Because there's this interview from 2015, courtesy of Electronic Beats, right? The same place that he wrote that amazing article regarding Cocktail d'Amour. And the headline says, Disco Professor Daniel Wang digs into the infinite past to inform the present DJ of culture. So it seems like, even though I haven't been paying attention, that Daniel Wang is a little bit of a gatekeeper, a little bit of a chin stroker, right? He's that dude that's going to be commenting on your mix, whether or not it's clanging, your song selection, your this, your that, blah 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 blah, whether or not you're playing vinyl, sometimes those kind of things. He's got he's a little bit, what's that word people say, there's a phrase for it, but regardless, right, he's that kind of guy. And I picked out some quotes here that might kind of inform why he has such a hard on for Peggy Gou and why he's taking this time out to make sure that he tells her off and make sure she acts the way that he wants to act in order for her to have a successful DJ career. So this is one of his quotes on his interview. He speaks about various different things concerning his DJ practice and his influence, whatever. He says, "Today, more than ever, I consider myself as a non-traditional, non-conservative, but maybe I'll call myself a preservationist, right? Everybody knows it, but many people wouldn't admit it, that DJ careers today are built on downloading new tracks and selling new stuff that no one needs. It's a it's a lot like clothes. So let's imagine that they were living together this time, or they probably weren't, but let's just imagine the scene was changing. There was obviously a bit of a changing of the guard. The kind of old school approach of just kind of doing your thing in silence and not really publicizing on social media, and just playing your same sort of like, same markets every year, same circuit. It was kind of changing. The influx of festivals, of random clubs popping up, and all this malarkey was coming all over the place, streaming platforms. And then suddenly, now the image of the DJ was very important, right? How you present yourself on social media in any way, in any shape or form, was very, very important in how you were able to kind of attract new business, attract new fans, and ultimately allow you to boost your signal. So it's no surprise that somebody that has this sort of point of view wouldn't actually vibe that well with a Peggy Gou. Another quote: without that knowledge, I think that people are not qualified to call themselves DJs. So already he's one of these people that admonishes others for not doing the things that he does, and then, classifying them as not DJs, which is odd, right? I think we should all coexist the way you want to. You can ignore what you want, pay attention to what you want to, but we digress. Because they don't understand what happened in that period. If you don't understand what happened culturally, technologically, musically, black people, white people, all the mix of the cultures, you can't call yourself a DJ. So I'm pretty sure he probably doesn't even rate her. Forget rating Peggy as a person. He doesn't even rate her as a DJ. He probably thinks she's, she doesn't need to even exist. So that can explain a lot of some of his vitriol he has towards it. He says, you can't even call yourself a DJ. I'm sorry. People who stick electronic music just so this 4x4 formula and 303 or the mindless minimal techno stuff, you can call yourself a DJ the same way McDonald's can call itself a restaurant. Bad analogy, because McDonald's is one of the best restaurants in the world, and I have no one say anything different about it. It continues: you serve music as they serve fast food. It's not good food, it's not interesting, it's not content, and it's bad for people who consume it. So again, explains a lot about why he doesn't like Peggy Gou. Last quote here is the last one here at the bottom. It says this is a thing about, what's the question? There is a theory that you can only be a good DJ if you're a good dancer, right? I don't know where that theory comes from, but I guess it makes sense if you look at, but it's not true, innit? Because the first person I think of that can't dance is Ben UFO, right? He doesn't look like the person that can pop, lock, and rock, does he? But he's a pretty fearsome DJ. But he continues, who knows? He says, I'm a pretty good dancer, but I'm not the best, right? And I think I'm a good DJ because I have a sense of what feels right. And I do believe you should be interested in dancing to be a good DJ, but it also depends on the audience you're appealing to. Now, that sentence, right, I honestly thought he was going to say the same way he said, I'm a pretty good DJ, but not the best. I thought he was going to say, I'm a pretty good DJ too, but I don't think I'm the best. But instead, he really used his opportunity to really say, no, I am that guy. Come and see me play. I'm the best. So you already see the reason why someone like this wouldn't get on with a Peggy Gou, right? If he doesn't even rate her as a DJ and thinks that she just downloads tracks and puts someone through USB, she doesn't engage with the music, she doesn't know the history and all this other stuff, it makes sense why he would think her success was somewhat undeserving. It continues, especially nowadays, and this is again quite critically, when you're at big festivals, they don't even offer a dance floor. It's a big stadium where everyone is facing the same direction, and there are also people who are less interested in dancing than in the pure essence of music, the physical excitement of hearing it, and it's almost pure form of listening. Now, maybe it's just me because I'm a Brit and we're the home of festivals. We have some of the best festivals in the world, but I'm really pissed off about this DJs constantly complaining of having to play festivals. Yes, it's different. Yes, a festival isn't a dingy 500 capacity nightclub somewhere. We know it, but it's a different arena, a different platform. You should showcase your skills in a different way. I think being able to play it's same like nightclub. Being able to play a nightclub that's got 1,000 capacity, 1,000 cap and plus, and a place that's 500 and under, you have to approach it differently. I'm assuming stylistically, right? In terms of the tunes you play, the textures that you're kind of trying to emit from the comfort of the DJ booth. You approach them in different ways. That is the thing. So I don't see why somehow festivals are different. And it's also a bit annoying too, because it seems like a lot of these DJs survive primarily through the festival circuit, right? Festivals usually, for the most part, from what I heard, speaking to people behind the scenes, pay pretty well, right? Or they pay maybe, a bit better than stuff that you do in gigs, in clubs. If you can maybe stack a few of them up back to back, especially with festivals now ranging anywhere, they're usually all year round, they're not even just reserved for the summer seasons, right? You can make a pretty penny going to places. So when these DJs constantly complain about festivals not being like nightclubs and not being the true essence of dance music, it's like, okay, cool, then don't play them. but they still go and play them anyway. So, you know, put that away in the bin, mate, or, you know, fold it up, put in your back pocket and have a walk. There are also, and there's also people who are less interested in dancing than put on music of incense, so it's almost a pure form of listening. But this is wrong, because the whole purpose of dance music is to introduce a physical interpersonal participation, which was absent in the traditional form of concert halls. To turn the dance floor into a concert arena is gutting the dance music of its original meaning and replacing that with only commerce. So you can see he's somewhat pretentious, right? So this makes a lot of sense why somebody like him wouldn't like an influencer come DJ in the shape of a Peggy Gou. And then it got me thinking, let's look at the timeline and think about it, right? 'Cause I was thinking, why would somebody like a Daniel Wang be so bothered about a 98 kg soaking wet Peggy Gou, who seems pretty inoffensive, outside, looking from the outside in. Of course, if you know her personally, she seems like a bit of a a bit of a dragon in terms of her personality, but she doesn't really bother anyone. She plays her sets wherever she plays them. She seems to have a crowd that seem to like what she does, and you just have to keep it moving. But I think I'll be thinking, hold on, and most likely, you know, from what I remember, she probably started DJing properly, professionally, to a high level from 2017 onwards at most. So it's not even like they're occupying the same sort of client customer base, or, you know, clubbing, whatever, programming platform, right? It's just a different approach. Then I went on RA and thought, oh, this makes a lot of sense. So if you go on RA, right, and you go on Peggy's dates, this is RA here, got a list of dates and stuff, and I clicked on 2017, which I think might have been the time that she kind of blew up and kind of got out there, right? Because if you look at some of the previous dates, there aren't many parties there that she was playing or that got listed here. Some local stuff that she did when she was South Korean stuff, but for the most part, it seems like it started to really kick off from 2016 onwards. But in 2017, if you look here, that's when you got a real variety of flags where she was and dates and stuff, and it went, you know, just absolutely batshit crazy. So if we look from here onwards, right, from the top, 2017, and then you go on the next tab here with Daniel Wang's gigs, and the same on the 2017, there's definitely a big disparity in terms of total. Now I haven't counted them all, but I could easily say she probably has 60 on here for the year, or maybe more, and I guess Daniel Wang probably has maybe 30 at best. So this might explain why somebody like a Daniel Wang would be annoyed, because there has to be a sense of jealousy and a sense of undeserved sense of, like, he has to maybe feel somewhat that she doesn't deserve her success, that she shouldn't be on the level that she is in terms of the places she's playing, because, you know, it's not like she's playing like shitty places, right? You look at January onwards, right? I'm just gonna name the venues. It's from 2017. Discord, you got War Milano, you've got Panorama Bar, Sub Club in Glasgow, you've got Moles in Wales, you've got Hidden in Manchester, you've got Flux Fraggle in Portugal, you got Primary in Chicago, Lebain in New York, you got Electric Pickle in Miami, right? Tel Aviv, Japan, Le Sucre in Leon. You've got Ireland in Bristol. You've got a couple of gigs here in Ireland, Spain, Greece, Croatia, of course, why not? You got Love Fest in Serbia, Sunfall in London, like some absolutely mad, like prime, yeah, Mondo in Madrid, some banging locations she's playing at. So you can imagine somebody like a Daniel Wang, 25 or 20 plus years in the scene, seeing someone like a Peggy Gou, who, number one, doesn't rate musically, doesn't think she's a good DJ, and then number two, she's seems like a bit of a bitch in person. It can definitely send you over the edge. But I still think this is way overboard. I don't think something like this needs to be spoken about in public, especially from a man. I think you don't ever publicly admonish a woman in this regard. You have to kind of take it to them personally in some way, shape or fashion, and if you can't, then you just keep it moving and kind of keep your distance. But entering into this back and forth online with a DJ is just very untoward, especially professionally. I'm just not a big fan of it. And then I guess to close, another update here, Daniel Wang decided to update this again with another post on his Facebook saying the following, kind of updating. This is what, a couple of days ago, right? It said, I really want to avoid more attention now and the repetition of the same story. So look at that, you scroll and look how long the story is, right? So this guy, I think he kind of enjoys hearing the sound of his own voice, like some people. Anyway, yeah, so he says, but to emphasize the credibility and the gravity, quote unquote, of my story, Jan Engel, who worked in Berlin for 2 years with Peggy Gou as well, just posted this on Facebook. See below on my timeline, and says he is even ready to testify under oath in support. Now, is he joking, or is he being sincere? Under oath. Bruv, did she kill your cat or something? Like, what the flip are these people going on? Like, what is wrong with you? Under oath. Okay, she orders too many stuff. She shouts at her interns. So what, bruv? Like, really, so what? This is nonsense. Under oath. Anyway, I received messages from strangers around the planet about the abuse suffered from Peggy Gou, even former classmates at London College of Fashion in 2013. 2013, describing how Peggy Gou bullied other students and stole things with no qualms. It's horrific. I'm saving all these screenshots, bruv. She is an absolute savage, bruv. She was bullying a man in 2013 when she had no clout. Fair enough, if you got, I think the whole like bullying and being a bit of a bitch and a diva, you can sort of get away with it when you got a bit of clout in the scene. It seems like, again, I would never let someone get away with something like that, right? You can't come at me with that sort of energy in, in real life or online, but you can sort of get away with it in the scene if you've got a bit of clout, right? If you've got a bit of, if you've got a name to yourself, right? If you've got an influence, people want to kind of just suck your dick and keep it moving. But in 2013, when she was just your run-of-the-mill Asian girl trying to chase her dreams in London, in fashion school, she was bullying people in 2013. And you can imagine, and let me tell you about London College of Fashion. It's not full of some chumps, right? It's full of people who, for the most part, believe in a very delusional way in their ability to make clothes or to be involved in fashion. So for her to go in there and bully people, oof, that's something. I wish to make it very clear that I am against any misogyny or racism. Many people have mentioned that me describing the overpowering makeup and perfume is sexist, and my wording was incorrect regarding mental illness. I'm sorry for that. But I was merely trying to describe the composite psychological profile of a person who was malignant, whose malignant mental tendencies, not imply that normal or even slightly too much makeup on a woman is automatically a sign of problems. Yeah, you don't want to do that, because you know what happened to Jordan Peterson when he said if women wear lipstick, it's a sign that they want to fuck. So you have to be careful about saying these things online. It continues, most mental illnesses are not necessarily aggressive or directly harmful to others, of course, but again, he mentioned it was just stupid. What was that mentioning to be? Like, he said something about like, because he kind of insinuated that her wearing too much makeup or whatever, or fragrances was some sort of indication of her mental well-being. It's like, call her a bitch, say she's self-absorbed and she's undeserving of success in your opinion, but ascribing mental illness to makeup and fragrances is just like, you're no psychologist, right? You're no public intellectual. How dare you? Most of all, this was not a man v woman issue at all. It was only me describing my encounter with other person who happens to be a female, and that person is nothing is nothing like the other female DJs and friends who I know. Again, it's a personal attack. Like I said previously, no man should publicly insult or argue or denigrate another woman online in public. No way. I'm not a fan of it. We'll never agree with it under any circumstance. Also, you shouldn't publicly admonish somebody who works in your same industry as well, because it doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help the scene, doesn't help your friends, doesn't help the fans. It even actually splits the fan base up, if anymore. It becomes an us v them thing. It's not necessary. Deal with it behind the scenes, or don't deal with it at all, and do what all adults do when they don't like somebody. They move away. There are many high-profile DJs, Bless Madonna and Millie Lenz, name dropping, who maybe got famous quickly. Oof. That's a backhanded compliment if ever I've seen one, isn't it? Who maybe got famous quickly, but my impression is they put in the hard work and still treat other people with respect. The way he's like getting mad people involved in this, and just like, without even trying, like praising and insulting them in one breath, is a skill, to say the least. If you're the Bless Madonna and the Amelia Lens, you'd be like, hey, what am I doing? I didn't do nothing. Why am I involved? Please stop bullying them. Should I add even those stupid crossfader memes? No DJ is perfect at every event. That crossfader meme is funny. I think even Bless Madonna would admit that was a funny meme. Anyway, and there are plenty of globally less famous but great female DJs in our scene, like Tamasuma, Lukuti, Budino, Deborah DeLuca. No, I'm joking. He just said Deborah DeLuca, who have kept me dancing for hours. I have nothing against them. I even adore them. Maybe you never noticed before, because unfortunately it took such a heavy and scandalous post for me to attract such sudden attention. That's what you wanted, though, innit? You wanted attention, my guy. I'm sorry. This just screams jealousy for me, man. Which I get, I understand, but you just have to be jealous in silence like everyone else is. You don't have to put it online or front and center because it makes you look wild. I get it, right? Like I said, he's like, look at his RA. He's been DJing since 2005, it seems, on RA alone, right? Documented listings. Look at Peggy Gou's. I'm gonna say again. What she says 2013, but I would say mostly she probably started around 2015. She probably, got her own set of decks at home or something, and already look at how successful she is. So I can definitely understand why he would be so, upset and jealous at her position. But again, do like the rest of us and just keep your jealousy quiet. And you have to tell everybody, the whole world about it. But it continues. I saw Peggy's video reply. It made me sad because I still know the emotions behind the face so well. Her team wrote the words for her. Let's focus on the positive, but I could see her mask was on. What? Those glasses. Oh, I got glasses too. The serious, not sexy hairdo that she knew that she had to perform this role again, even though it was time for reckoning. Yo, I think Daniel Wang is mentally ill, I'm not gonna lie. I hope you all know that I had no need for attention or drama. I think you wanted all the attention and drama, sir. It was gut-wrenching decision, but my conscience knew that I had to speak out. I can't change the whole system, quote unquote, just by addressing one individual case. But these Trump years, oh, these Trump years, bro. I don't know about this. Is there? Because is Danny Wang originally from America? I'm not too sure. Is he originally American? Because he's been living in Berlin for a while, isn't it, right? Is he originally American? I'm not too sure. Let's double check here. Yeah, he's from Germany. So why is he talking about Trump in this manner? Why does it affect his world? Why does it affect his worldview in any way, shape, or form? Like, why does it inform the way that he talks or communicates with his peers in any way, shape, or form? I'm confused. Someone tell me. If we pretend that culture and politics and media don't matter, if we let malignant narcissists continue and amass unlimited money, influence, and real estate, then they soon will have power over the lives of regular, innocent, kind people and over cultural institutions which influence how we all think and interact. Has he never heard of Amazon? Is he acting as if like Peggy Gou is unlike any other person that's come before her in this world that we live in? Like, guess what? Like, this is utterly bizarre. And again, this is the odd thing. I think I saw people making just odd parallels, but it's odd that someone like this would have so many things to say, and even people in the comments, they're so opinionated about this whole issue. But then when it came to the Eric Murillo stuff, right, some of the comments and some of the stuff even I received regarding some of the comments I had when I covered it were just bizarre. There were people legitimately defending what Eric Murillo done, right? Saying that he never got tried in a court of law, okay, because of his untimely passing. They were throwing smut on the accuser's name, saying that he had these demons and all this stuff. It's like, guy, he's been accused of rape from multiple people, right? The most recent case, the lady went all the way to the end and went through the whole ordeal of getting a rape kit done and all that madness and putting herself front, first and center, because the story, when I heard it through the grapevine, she had already been identified behind the scenes. People are already going out there trying to put a black mark against her name and try and ruin her credibility. So, and I didn't see any way, shape, or form the same level of vitriol and abuse being pointed towards some of the DJs even who are posting eulogies about Eric Murillo when he passed. Like eulogies. I understand acknowledging that he was your friend and you're missing him, but I heard people posting stuff like, oh, he had these demons, everyone's got issues, don't judge people by remembering for the good stuff. It's like, huh? Remembering for the good stuff? Your man got accused of allegedly assaulting numerous women over a prolonged period of time in his career behind the scenes. Like, you read some forums and some comments, some of them might be made up, but for the most part, people are saying that he was doing this for a long time and it was tolerated because he was the hot stuff and he was the main guy. The moment his fame or his relevancy started to dwindle somewhat, people started to talk up a bit more. And I didn't hear the same amount of vitriol or enthusiasm in sort of attacking the people that were sort of protecting and covering up some of his shortcomings. And again, these aren't shortcomings, right? Assault or rape aren't shortcomings. They're even worse than shortcomings. But again, all this energy being poured towards a 98 kg DJ who started playing in 2016 because she's a bit rude and she's entitled. Like, yeah, these guys are insane, bro. Like, legitimately insane. I definitely didn't ask. He said here, I definitely didn't ask to be in his position. Yes, you did. And maybe I spoke up too spontaneously. Yes, you did. But when all is won and lost on social media, then it takes a social media action to reach a large audience and maybe reverse the damage too. Again, because someone tell me in the comments why she sparked this, because he keeps saying this. What did Peggy Gou say about him in public that would make him want to say this about her? Because it feels like he just came out of nowhere and just like divulged all this stuff from behind the scenes. Anyway, it says, enough words. I've seen the haters' indifference in the comments. I can understand that. Now I know that Beyonce and Taylor Swift have to deal with. I think that's a joke. Can I put an LOL emoji here? Cool. But overall, I've gotten nothing but love and support from around the globe. It feels good, and I needed it very much. So what? This was a purely selfish, self-absorbed exercise in order for you to garner sympathy from strangers because you felt a little bit you felt, what's that word? You felt somewhat inadequate living in the same building as Peggy Gou and seeing her arrive in amazing vehicles, decked out in amazing fashions and going to all the hippie parties and all this sort of stuff. Utterly bizarre. Utterly bizarre. And I guess that's another, this is part 4 of the ordeal, and I'm really hoping that this is the end. I hope this is the end, but I'm, knowing how narcissistic and self-absorbed some DJs are, they're definitely going to keep going on this back and forth, but nobody wins here, innit? Really, nobody wins. The people in Berlin who didn't fuck with Peggy anyway won't, change their minds. The people who are fans are going to keep fans of her. The people that didn't know who Danny Wang are not suddenly going to go see him play. Now, he's not going to gain fans of this. No one's going to go see you play somewhere because you decided to throw this girl under the bus or talk about how much makeup she puts on and shit. I don't like, again, this is not me. I don't even like the girl. I could care less about her DJing. It just seems so bizarre that a grown man would want to go and attack a woman in public like this because he feels like she doesn't respect or honor the fact that she's got the position and she doesn't listen to the right music. Or it's like, come on, jog on. Like, what is Danny Wang ever going to play at Circle Loco anyway? Like, do they even occupy the same scene? Like, it doesn't, they're not even this, do you know what I mean? It's like, who cares? She plays DC-10, you play Panorama Bar, I don't know, whatever, or somewhere else, or Golden Gate, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's not even in the same group. It's just an utterly odd situation. But maybe, again, I'm reading too much into it. Maybe I'm seeing it from the wrong point of view. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions in the comments as you did previously. Try and keep them civil. Don't insult me, please. But let me know, man, like, whose side of the argument do you fall on? Are you more of a Daniel Wang kind of person, or are you more of a Peggy Gou kind of person, or do you just simply not care and you think all this stuff is really, really entertaining like everyone else? Let me know in the comments down below.